Hi everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about our interview process at Flex Digital and the procedure that we follow in order to ensure that we get really good staff inside my organisation. And trust me, I've done this the wrong way, and I'm probably 5 years in now from starting to hire people, and I've learned a lot along the way. And the biggest mistake that I made is that I was too quick to hire before, okay? I made decisions without really thinking about it, and I trusted my gut, which is sometimes not a bad thing, but I also made decisions too quickly, and I gave people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes I wouldn't even call a reference, for example, and that's, silly because I wasn't taking enough time, all right? Because the biggest mistake, I believe, that you can make when you're running a business is hiring the wrong people, because if they're not a good fit within your team environment, then it can do a lot of damage very quickly. So I would highly recommend taking time when you're hiring within your agency. So this is my interview process. The first thing I do is a job post, and I put that out to job board. You have the usual job description and what you'll be doing and how much you're getting paid and how to apply and all that kind of stuff. But we have a few trick questions which ensures that the candidates read through the job post properly, and it also proves that they can follow instructions. So the first one we have is name 3 people you would like to have, famous people you would like to have as a guest to a dinner party. 50% of the people don't answer that question off the gate, so they can be immediately put to the side, and you don't have to worry about interviewing those people. 50% of the people will do that. The second trick part is that they have to PDF up their job description, because their CV, because most people have that in Word format. And they don't bother PDFing it up. So that just culls another 20% of people. And the last thing is to put something specific in the subject line of the email, which is a little bit different to normal. And you'll find that most of the people don't do that either. So what you'll start with is 20, 30 applications, and will have whittled down to 5 without doing anything. So that's really important, and it's something you can do very quickly, and it works great. The second thing that I do is I have a 15-minute phone call, just to make sure their phone manner's good, that they are engaging with you properly, they can hold a conversation, that they're your kind of person. Your gut instinct will be able to tell you very quickly whether or not they're going to move to the next level, the next stage, which is the face-to-face, or they're not going to move to the next stage. The first bit is obviously general chit-chat to make sure that they can engage, and they're easy to talk to, and they're a good fit for what you want to do. The next question is, why did they leave their previous role? And they usually have a pretty good answer for that, because it's one they're very expecting, and I like to hear why that is, just to make sure that there's nothing fishy about their story, which you can usually tell if someone's not exactly telling the truth. So that's a question that I ask. The next one is, what mistake did you make within your previous role, and how did you handle it? So it's always good to know, but some people say, I never made a mistake, and I'm just too good, I just never made a mistake. And I don't believe that, because people are human and they make mistakes, and it's how they deal with them that is more important to me than finding someone that doesn't make mistakes. That's just obvious, right? So if someone says they don't make mistakes, I don't really believe that, and it's good to hear what people come up with over the phone. And then one that really throws people that I've been using recently is your favorite non-fiction book, okay, blog or podcast that you listen to. And everyone reads novels, and everyone has read Harry Potter or whatever, but if you ask them what their favorite non-fiction book is and they can't answer within a couple of seconds, I usually, because a non-fiction book is something that people that might have read that would help their career, that would move them forward, that would help them be better at their job role. If they're a PPC person, maybe they've read a digital marketing book on copywriting or something like that. So if they haven't taken the time to learn and go out and do their own research and have their own interest in some kind of a book or education or blog or podcast, then they're probably not someone that's going to be a great fit for your business. So if they stumble at that point as well, they don't make it past my filter, okay? And the last thing I look for is job jumping. So someone that is been in one role for 6 months and then blah, 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 and they don't stick with somewhere, okay? That's another important one that is usually a good indicator. So if they pass all of those tests, okay, then we're culling. They get a face-to-face interview, and usually that is 3 or 4 people at the end of this whole process. So you might have 30 or 40 people here, it gets down to 10, and then you're left with 3 or 4, okay? And that's the cream of the crop. These are the people you really want to speak to that are close to getting the job. And what I look for in that face-to-face interview is really whether or not they are a team player, okay? Whether they start using words like we and my team and we as a business, as opposed to I did this, I did that. So I'm looking for that team player, someone that gets a team environment, that works well with other people, because that's my background, right? I've been in sport all my life, and I understand how sporting teams work and how everyone has a role. And there's no I in team, all of those cliched words, but it's true. There's so many parallels between business and sport was my thing for the first 30 years of my life, so it's easy for me to relate to, and I need people like that in my business and my team. So that's a very important one for me, and it makes sense. I suggest you try that as well. And the last thing is that they've got empathy, and they're kind of personable, and they're easy to talk to, and they've got a bit of character and personality, because I don't want these people to be the same as everyone else in my business. I mean, people I have in my team, there's no 2 people that are similar. Everyone has a hugely different personality, and they're all weird and wonderful in their own ways, but they fit together, and that causes personality within the office, and it's just a fun place to be. If they usually, so I think it was 30 to 10 to 5, usually 2 will get to that next stage, and I've got a tough decision to make, and I send them what's called the Colby Test. Some of you might have heard of this. It's fairly common, but it's like a psychometric, I believe that's the right word, psychometric test, which there's no right or wrong answers, but it measures whether or not the person in question is an implementer, or whether they're someone that has got strong creativity, or whether they're someone that is really good at finding out facts, or whether they've got great follow through. So for me, I'm a creative person and I have lots of ideas. Let's go do this and this, and I tell my team about it, and then I forget about it. And 3 months later, I might say stuff like, why hasn't it been done yet? It's because I haven't got great follow through. So you need someone and people in your team that have got the follow through as well as the creativity, because if everyone has the same personality, it's not going to work. So once I have the Colby results through, I sleep on it and make a decision usually the next day. But after the Colby, I'm pretty much sure the way that I'm going to go, but it's always a good idea to sleep on it. Maybe talk it through with your partner or your team, because as I said before, there's no point making rash decisions when it comes to hiring. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it's been helpful. A lot of the people that I speak to, agency owners, are struggling to get to that kind of next level, and one of the big pieces of the puzzle is hiring. And if you follow these 5 steps, this is a tried and tested method that produces great people within your team, and I highly recommend giving it a go if you're at the point where you're about to hire. Enjoy. Speak soon.